Hey, howdy ho, everybody. This is Postmortem Nightshade, one half of your wonderful ghastly ghost birds. Happy 2026. And
Woo!
joining me in the new year is.
Salatro, how's it going?
Woohoo! Let's go! Happy New Year, everybody! And we are back as promised, ready to kick off the new year. And what better way to kick off the new year than giving a small glance back to 2025? Today's video topic will be. You want to fill them in, Slothro?
Yes, so our video topic today is going to be the top 6 best movies in our personal opinions of this last year, and then the top 6 worst. So we're going to start off going over the worst movies of this last year, and then kind of end on a high note with our highlights of kind of all the movies we saw last year, which are movies that came out last year or just movies that we got the chance to watch last year.
Perfect. Alrighty, well then, here we go. Breaking it down, starting over here with me for my absolutely bottom of the barrel list. So, this movie was fine, but it was definitely number 6 for me on just my worst list, and that is Until Dawn. This movie, I like the video game, and this movie is not really anything like the video game, and I just kind of thought it was boring, mid, like, there just wasn't a lot of substance there for me, and I don't know, I was just hoping for more, expecting more, and it was even pretty mid as far as, like, even horror movies go. So just number 6 for me, easily Until Dawn.
Yeah, I could see that. I never got the chance to watch it, but I watched some of the trailers and it didn't give me the same vibes that the games did. Okay, so my number 6 would be The Monkey. The Monkey was definitely an interesting watch. I was kind of anticipating it because the trailer kind of made it seem like it'd be an interesting premise. But then by the end of the movie, I started to feel more and more like it was just kind of like watching a fever dream kind of take place. And then the plot kind of lost traction for like the last 30 minutes of the movie. So I personally wasn't the biggest fan of The Monkey by the time we finished it.
Yeah, I would highly agree with you on that. We actually went and saw that one together, and it was. I didn't really like The Monkey either. I agree. I think it was all over the place, and the ending was just buns. Okay, number 5 on my list is The Conjuring Last Rites. So I've seen all the Conjuring movies. The first 2, easily the best. I don't think that's a hot take. And I don't know. I didn't think this was like a bad movie, but the reason I ranked it as one of the worst of last year is because it was just such a disappointing ending to me. Like, this franchise and the leads, the actor and the actress, Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga, always do so well, and I was wanting a better send-off, and so just on disappointment factor alone, I put Conjuring Last Rites as my number 5.
Nice, that makes sense. For my number 5, I actually put the movie Drop. So this movie was essentially about a. I'm pretty sure it was a date scenario that turned out very bad, and overall, it just was not my cup of tea. The vibes were not really there. The filmography was all right. The music was nothing to write home about. And there was just a lot of plot points that I just were kind of left me scratching my head. So I didn't really have a good time watching that movie. So that's why that one's my number 5.
That makes sense. Blumhouse has definitely been hit or miss lately, and I think I enjoyed Drop a little bit more than Slothro did, but it definitely wasn't a standout to me of the year by any means. Oh, okay. And what am I on? Number
3.
4, number 3. Anyway, one of my next worst pick for the year is Ash. So this was a Shudder movie that I saw. I was really excited. Everybody was like, "Oh my gosh, this movie has." I'm so sorry. I'm blanking on his name. It's the guy from Breaking Bad. And it was supposed to be a really cool sci-fi space horror. And so I was super pumped. And then I sat down to watch it, and it was just convoluted, nonsensical. I didn't really know what was going on by the end. There was a lot of messiness when it just came to the plots and the characters and things that were happening. But the visuals are beautiful. So if you're just wanting a vibey film that isn't like super great on story, Ash is actually really pretty to look at. But that's all it really has going for it.
Dang. And I guess kind of similar to that note, my next one I actually put down was Moon, which is not from this year, but I had the opportunity to watch it this year, and I think it's an early 2010s or early 2000s movie. It definitely visually was not a bad looking film at all. It definitely they did a decent job in the visuals department, especially like the space scenes. But overall, the plot was just not very well executed for the story they were trying to tell. And by the end of it, it was just kind of like a deflated balloon for me personally. So that's what I thought of the Moon movie.
Yeah, that makes sense. I've seen that movie. Also, not really my favorite. So I do not blame you. And the next one on my list, now we're getting into my top three least favorite movies of the year. So, my third least favorite movie is Amateur. I saw this trailer way too many times in theaters. And then after watching the movie, I realized they put all of the best kills and the best action in the trailer, which is literally one of my greatest pet peeves of modern cinema. It drives me crazy. The acting wasn't very good. The story was pretty boring. And it just wasn't engaging. I did not have a good time. It was just I hated it. It was just mid, just bad. Would not recommend.
Yeah, my next one, these next ones are kind of they're not like my worst. I would have to say probably the ones I started with were probably my absolute least favorite, and these ones were kind of just more disappointing. I the next one for me is The Housemaid. So this is one that I think you actually recently reviewed, if I'm correct, right? I believe.
Yes, I did. I talked about The Housemaid. There's a short on my channel if you were interested.
Yes, definitely go check it out. But for me personally, The Housemaid was kind of a disappointing film. Uh, for the most part, visually, it's not bad. It has a lot of interesting gimmicks to the story that kind of give it its flair to a certain extent. It's definitely like a mystery movie that the longer you watch it, the more you try to understand the more you kind of get to piece together the story. But I'd definitely say by the end of the movie, it's just not really there's just a lot of contrivances and different like plot points, plot holes that kind of make it kind of to where you like scratch your head and you're like, what the? Why is this happening here? So for me personally, The Housemaid filmed visually was fine, but story wise, I think it could definitely have used some improvement.
Yeah, agreed. Okay, and then my second to last or second to the top most worst least favorite movie of 2025. Oh my gosh, I hated this movie with a passion. That is I Know What You Did Last Summer. So I really, really like the original. Came out in the 90s or early 2000s, like around the Scream era. It's a really good summer slasher. It's just good. It's not as great as Scream, but it's not a bad slasher movie. And it's got pretty memorable characters. And this remake was awful. It just completely torpedoed the franchise. It torpedoed its characters. I hated this movie. I hated what it did to the franchise. And yeah, it's really one of the worst outcomes as far as remaking a classic franchise. It's just, my goodness, terrible.
I would definitely agree with that. The next movie, which is my second to last pick for worst, was honestly it isn't really that bad if you're really into comedy. I put Anaconda in my top six. So Anaconda is based on a classic, cult classic movie from I think was it the 80s or 90s? I can't remember what year
Yeah,
it
somewhere
was.
around there. I think the 90s.
Okay, yeah, yeah. And so essentially, it's about a giant snake that tries to attack people, and you kind of see their adventure as they try to stop the snake. In this remake, you have Jack Black and I forgot the actor for Ant Man. I always forget his
Paul
name.
Rudd.
Paul Rudd, yes. And so they are the lead actors. And I think for comedy wise, I think it was definitely pretty good in that department. Story wise, though, and plot wise, it was definitely kind of just it felt like a mashed together movie. Um, it was trying to be self aware, which it kind of was at times, but at the same time, it was all right. It wasn't anything to write home about, so that's why it's probably my top six of this year or this last year.
Yes, I agree. Again, this was one of those ones that I recently reviewed. I have a short talking more about it, but I agree with Slothro 100%. Okay, and my number one pick for my least favorite movie of 2025 was Prom Queen. Ooh, this was a terrible movie. It's not a good slasher. It's not a good scary movie. It's not even a good movie. I hated how the ending turned out. I didn't like it. It was very heavy on tropes. I'm pretty sure this was supposed to take place in the 80s. It's about as cliche 80s as you can get. Not a fan. Terrible. It went straight to Netflix, which I guess thank goodness. I at least got to watch from the comfort of my own home because it was so bad. But yeah, just Not a fan. That was my least favorite movie. It was boring. It was long. I didn't like the characters. I just hated it. Overall, not a fan for sure.
Nice. And for me, my last movie of this year, it didn't come out this year, but I had the chance to watch it. It is the movie Evolution. Now, for those who don't know what this movie is, it is a very unique movie of its time. There were parts of it that I thought were funny, but I was very much left overall by the end kind of perplexed at what I had watched. So for me personally, this movie was not anything crazy to write home about, and it was probably one of the joke movies I watched, but also probably one of just the least like I don't know well written movies to watch. I guess is how I'd put it. So that's why it's on my list.
Makes sense. I think we ended up watching that with friends this year. And yeah, just I did not like it either. So I don't blame you. Okay, so now that we got all that unpleasantness out of the way, moving over to our top favorite movies of the year. You want to kick us off, Slothro?
Yes, and I actually have a banger to kick us off with. My It's really hard to pick a favorite out of all of them. So I'll just list them as my like all my six favorites, but it'll be whatever you feel like is what you'll feel like. My number one that I'll start off with is the movie Sinners, which is probably on your list as well. This movie was really, really good. I liked the visual effects of it. I liked the story dynamics. I liked the feel and videography of the movie. It very much captured that aesthetic of the time it was trying to replicate. I liked the character dynamics, the plot points that came up, and I really liked its overall theme for music and how music can connect everyone together. And so overall, the fight scenes, the action, the drama, the romance, all of it, I thought was really, really well done and filmed, and it was just a really good package overall.
Oh yes, Slothro, I have to agree with you 1,000%. I'll spoil my list already. Number two on my list for my second most favorite movie of the year was Sinners 2. I loved this film. It is so gorgeous to look at, and I second everything Slothro said. There's not much more I can add. I mean, go watch Sinners, please. It's so good. But besides Sinners being my second most favorite, I'll go back down to my number six most favorite of the year was Bring Her Back from the Philippa Brothers. They are YouTubers who have moved on to the wonderful world of Hollywood, and oh my gosh, they are such incredible creatives. They did Talk to Me a few years ago, which I really enjoyed. So many visuals of theirs have stuck in my head, and I think they have easily cemented themselves as some of the best horror directors and just directors in general working today. Their latest film, Bring Her Back, came out earlier this year. Oh my goodness. The performances, the story, the visual effects, and the nasty, the practical gore in this movie is just, it's skin crawling. But the story is just so moving and powerful and just, yeah, they combine story and horror so well, so seamlessly. So yes, can't wait to see what they do next. But number six for me was Bring Her Back.
Nice. I'll definitely have to give that one a watch. I heard of that movie, but I never got the chance to see it. For me, the next one on my list that I wanted to talk about is actually the John Wick spin-off movie this year, Ballerina. I'm pretty sure it's towards the beginning of this year. The reason why I'm putting it on my sixth best of this last year is honestly, I loved there's if anyone out there that's listening to this plays games, there if you are familiar with the Resident Evil franchise, it the last half of the movie is very similar to some of the plot points in Resident Evil 4, the beginning with like the village scene where you're being chased and you have to fight to survive. That is very much what happens to the main character in the latter half of this movie, not to get too deep into spoilers for it and just in case, but it was a very entertaining watch. I really enjoy the John Wick movies in general. And so this one I felt like it was a very fun spin-off to watch. It had a lot of if you're really into watching like gun fu fight scenes and just kind of that overall like aesthetic of like the John Wick universe, then I would definitely recommend giving this movie a watch.
Yeah, Slothro, I agree. I think that Ballerina was a little underrated on its release. I think because John Wick has such a crazy legacy, people love those movies. I think that the bar was just really high. But yeah, I think that's a great spot to put Ballerina. I really enjoyed it too. And my fifth most loved movie of the year was Weapons. From I believe it's Zach Krager is the director. He also did Barbarian, which I really enjoyed. But I definitely liked Weapons more. The marketing is phenomenal, so good, loved it. I love the Ring camera, videos in black and white, and just like the concept is just so creepy, and it had me hooked instantly. And then the movie really paid off for me. There was one scene in particular that just gave me the chills. It was so scary, but in such a fun way. And watching that in theaters with everybody else was just awesome. And then, of course, the villain everybody has talked about. Gladys is amazing. But yeah, just love it. I would highly recommend. If you haven't watched Weapons and you liked Barbarian, I'd be interested to see which you liked better, Weapons or Barbarian. But yeah, super fun time, great gore, great story, very intriguing mystery premise. So yeah, highly recommend Weapons.
Nice. I'll definitely have to give that movie a watch too. So my next one I wanted to talk about before I get into my next big three that I watched this year is probably one of the more well-known ones that people have watched. It's the movie F1. Now, the movie is definitely on the longer side, but for the most part, it's very entertaining throughout. Visually, watching them all try to get the car racing to work and watching the drama build up between the whole team of racers is very interesting to watch. And I would say overall, I had a very fun experience watching this movie. It felt very similar to watching, let's say, like Top Gun Maverick, for example. It has a lot of loud engine noises. You're watching a lot of high speed, high action racing. And it does a really good job of like portraying, I guess, kind of what it feels like or what it looks like to be a racer for those super fast racing cars. And so I think personally this movie is definitely one I'd recommend for people to go watch if you really enjoy watching like high action racing or flying or anything related to like vehicle stuff.
Nice. Yeah. F1 was great. It definitely was a really good use of I don't know what tools. Maybe I think like you said sound design, the camera work, the characters, the writing. I think everything really just comes together to let you feel like you are in that driver's seat. So, great pick. Great pick. Um, and then I've only got two more on my list because I already mentioned where Sinners falls for me. But the next one on my list that I need to talk about is Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein. Oh my goodness. I loved this movie so much. I loved the visuals. Sorry, that was said really weird. I loved the visuals, the characters, the way the story was told, the theming, the ideas. I thought that it took the book source material and just really brought it to life. The set designs, just everything was phenomenal, beautiful, amazing. 10 out of 10. I have a video on my channel talking about this. I think this was the first short I actually ever made. So if you're interested to hear me talk a little bit more about it, you can check that out. But I loved this movie. You can catch it on Netflix right now. Please, please do. It's so good. Oscar Isaac as Victor Frankenstein is an insanely memorable, awesome, great performance. Perfectly captures the essence of Victor Frankenstein. Just I loved it. And Jacob Elordi's monster is the ability he has to evoke the emotion from you throughout his whole arc is just a great character experience. So would highly recommend. Very and the costuming, oh my goodness, the costuming. I would love to own so many of the costumes in this movie, especially Mia Goth's character. I love it. So yes, obviously you can tell gushing a little bit, but yes, love it, love it, love it. Please check it out.
All right. So for all those anime listeners out there, we're kind of getting to my big ones of this year that I really enjoyed. Of course, the last ones I really enjoyed, would highly recommend watching. I would say the Chainsaw Man Reze Arc movie that came out this year was an absolute highlight of the movies I've seen this year. I had the opportunity to actually go watch it in 3D, and I'm not normally someone who watches films in 3D because it can make me sick. But this one, it fit it very well, and it made it a very immersive experience. The animation in this movie is very gorgeous. It is very pretty to watch. And the filmography is it's overall, it's just really well done. The music, the acting, the videography, the animated scenes, the fight scenes are beautiful to look at. And it just kind of leaves you on the edge of your seat the whole time while you're watching it. So I would definitely recommend, if you ever get the chance to watch the movie, I'd highly recommend watching it just because of the, if not for the story, then definitely the animation. It is just a very beautiful movie overall.
Nice. Yeah, I'll have to check out. I haven't watched a ton of anime, but I have heard people really, really liked the Chainsaw Man movie, so I'll have to give that one a watch. Okay, and coming in here, number three is Good Fortune. I don't like comedy movies, so I will give that disclaimer right here. I I don't really watch them. I've watched a few and they've just never really been something that clicked with me. But I really enjoyed this movie. I am somebody who feels like Keanu Reeves can play kind of the same characters. He kind of gives the same performance in a lot of his roles. But this movie, he really surprised me and I loved that. I thought his deadpan delivery and like just the way he played this character made me laugh so much. And the other two leads also just everybody made me laugh so much and I think I can now appreciate why people love comedies so much. So highly quotable. I've been quoting this movie a ton. So yes, loved Good Fortune. Please check it out if you can. I don't know if it's streaming anywhere yet, so but yes, a big recommend here.
You actually took my next one, so I would also highly recommend Good Fortune. I don't watch too many comedies either, but I'm a big fan of Keanu Reeves, like in movies in general, and so this was definitely no exception. Good Fortune was a very fun movie, so she basically postmortem basically said everything I wanted to say. So definitely, if you want to, go check it out. And for me, my number one movie that or my last movie that I want to talk about is actually, it didn't come out this year, but I had the chance to watch it. It is Blade Runner 2049, a very infamous movie, a very infamous TV. What would you call that? IP? I guess a very infamous IP over the years, especially when it first debuted with Henry Ford being the main actor. This movie was very, very interesting to watch. The visual effects remind me a lot of Dune, but of course, it came out before Dune, so it kind of was doing its own thing, but it looks very pretty, very dystopian. Ryan Gosling does a very good job as the lead character. You start to feel for him, especially as time goes on, trying to understand kind of his purpose, his drive, his goals. And it's also very fun and engaging to watch the fight scenes or watch him try to like work through his emotions with his AI girlfriend, and also, of course, with Henry Ford and the other cast members as well. And by the time you're at the end of the movie, it's basically like a full completed package experience of just like, man, that was a very fun movie to watch. So I would, if you haven't watched it, I'd highly recommend you watch it. The scenes alone, if you guys are into memes as well, there's a ton of memes based on this movie, and you can definitely see why it is a very good movie. So I'd highly recommend it.
Awesome. Sweet. Well, that is moving us into my number one movie. I'm sure that not many people put this as their number one, but I really enjoyed Black Bag. It is a spy thriller. It's got Kate Blanchett, which I love Kate Blanchett and everything she does, so I was so excited to see her in this. She does not disappoint. I think this was not only an underrated thriller, but just an underrated movie of 2025. I have not forgotten about this movie since I saw it several months ago. I really, really liked this movie. It's moody and it's like cinematography and color grading. So yeah, I really liked it. So yeah, that is my picks for my top six. And Slothro, any last departing words before we leave our audience till next week?
I guess if you want to get the chance, we would highly recommend all of these. Like, of course, if you want, making movies is always very hard. So show love to all the creators that go into making this, because it's a lot of work to make a movie come to life. So definitely, I would recommend checking them out, especially the ones that we recommended, because they are very, very fun to watch. And if you enjoyed the content, just consider subscribing and tuning in as we talk more about movies, because we are very passionate and love the art form of film. So
Oh, yeah. We will definitely be talking more about movies the rest of the year. So hit that subscribe button if you want to keep checking in and see what our thoughts are as we go through the year. Also, comment below. What were your most favorite or least favorite movies of the year, or both? We love to hear from you guys. But thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. You can find me at Postmortem Nightshade on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. I make movie content. And where can they find you, Slothro?
You guys can find me on YouTube at Slothro. So be sure to tune in.
Awesome. Alrighty. Thank you, everyone, so much for joining us. Have a happy 2026, and we will see you all next week. Bye.
Bye.